on. What I could have done better is a lot of things. 100%.
Punches where, you know, like the first few rounds, he throws very few punches.
He's just measuring. He's a computer, man.
Yep.
He's just getting the data on you, faking you, taking pictures of everything you're doing. Then
criticize you for going 6 rounds with Jake Paul. How do you feel about that?
I deserve it.
Why? Come on.
Because, like, we're elite fighters.
Joe Rogan was left absolutely stunned after Anthony Joshua supposedly lifted the veil on what really happens behind the scenes of a Jake Paul fight contract. What many fans thought was a simple crossover boxing match quickly revealed itself to be far more calculated and controlled. As Joshua reportedly explained the clauses, restrictions, and hidden leverage built into these deals, Rogan's reaction said it all. This wasn't just about boxing skill, it was about business power, protection, and controlling the narrative. And once you hear what Joshua disclosed, it becomes clear why so many legitimate fighters have quietly stepped away from facing Jake Paul.
And you hear him saying everything he says. Bearing in mind the journey you've been on, everything you've done, do you just think this guy's deluded?
Nah. Look, an amateur coming into the game with no experience, he's taken on some good names. They may be old, they may be from different combats in terms of MMA and so on, but he's got in the ring at a decent level, fought Tommy Fury and so on, so he believes in himself. I take it seriously, I respect it.
Yeah, but their levels, come on AJ.
Yeah, there are, but it's all about on the night. The levels that I carried last year and the year before and the year after that will not win me this fight. What will win me this fight is performing on the night, and I have to respect my opponent. If I underestimate him, I give him a chance. And that's
bout, officially billed as Judgment Day, was contested over the scheduled 8 3-minute rounds in the heavyweight division, with Joshua entering as the clear favorite due to his elite experience and size advantage. Standing at 6 feet 6 inches and weighing around 243 pounds compared to Paul's 216 pounds, Joshua had the physical edge. After several cautious early rounds, Joshua began to assert control, sending Paul to the canvas multiple times in the 5th round before finishing the fight with a devastating 6th round knockout at 131, landing a crushing right hand that forced the referee to stop the bout.
Joshua Paul was sturdy for the first couple of rounds, but as the fight went on, the more experienced Joshua began to take control. After continuously connecting in the 5th round, it was only a matter of time before it was over. In the 6th, Joshua went on to knock out Paul with a big right hand. Joshua improved his career record to 29-4 now. Paul loses for the 2nd time in his career to go along with
Paul's game plan against Anthony Joshua was centered on movement, speed, and avoiding Joshua's power for as long as possible. Before the fight, Paul openly stated that his strategy was to rely on agility and footwork, constantly circling, keeping his distance, and making Joshua chase him around the ring, in hopes of frustrating the former heavyweight champ and surviving all 8 rounds. Both his team and Paul himself emphasized that he wanted to avoid that one devastating shot, instead banking on cardio and angles to last the distance. The idea was simple: keep moving, frustrate Joshua, and make him miss, rather than trying to engage head-on with a heavier, more experienced puncher.
The game plan from both guys from round 1. Jake was very mobile, happy feet going. He was circling around the outside of the ring. He was not looking to engage in elongated combinations. He was not looking to stand in the center of the ring with AJ, and people are going to say Jake ran from AJ, and you're right. Because guess why? He absolutely had to. Again, talked about this in the build-up to the fight. He had to be mobile. He had to be on his bike. So yes, you're justified in saying Jake ran from him because he had to. He convinced themselves that Jake was going to walk to the center of the ring, stand in the phone booth with AJ, and trade punches until someone laid flat. You were lying to yourself, or you convinced yourself of something you saw in the promo. This was always going to be the way the fight went. I wasn't surprised at all that this is the way that Jake started and pretty much fought the entire time. I was a bit surprised that AJ in a continuous fight. Round 1, very much a feeling out process for AJ. Didn't really look like he did much, but Jake didn't either. There was one right hand that first round that shook Jake up. That's the danger that was coming for Jake the entirety. Second and third rounds were pretty much the same. A bit of a mixed bag in terms of Jake tried to get on his jab more. He did land some jabs that snapped the head back of AJ and landed some right hands, but this was all calculated risk for AJ as well, because he knew as long as he turned that faucet on and let the water run and let it fill up the sink and never turned the faucet off, that eventually right? So every round it was pressure, front foot, strategically breaking down Jake's gas tank. I will say I'm pretty let down by the fact that AJ didn't cut the ring. I was shocked that he didn't go to the body more. I was shocked that he didn't set up his punches more, didn't get his head off the center line more. It was not a great performance from
Legendary ring announcer Michael Buffer offered a unique perspective on the influence of Jake and Logan Paul in modern boxing. He emphasized how the brothers have brought fresh energy to the sport, capturing the attention of younger audiences who might not have otherwise engaged with boxing. Their talent for crafting compelling storylines, building anticipation, and generating large-scale excitement has significantly expanded the sport's reach. Buffer acknowledged that, while some critics remain skeptical about the legitimacy of crossover fights, the impact of the Paul brothers on boxing cannot be ignored. By attracting new viewers and increasing mainstream interest, they have opened doors for broader fan engagement and media coverage.
Are fantastic athletes. You know what Logan does with the WWE and what Jake does with boxing, he knocks people out and everything. And they both have massive fan bases. And for me, it's great to see people get young people that follow them that didn't have they don't remember Ali or Joe Frazier or whatever. It's not in their wheelhouse. So it's great to see them developing fight fans and a big fight atmosphere. So it's very exciting.
These two stood face to face, and the comment section on the internet was going crazy. They were they were like, call the ambulance now, basically. Anthony Joshua looks dangerous standing next to him.
Anthony Joshua is, at this time, and has been for years, the biggest puncher in boxing. He's a devastating puncher. So I got to give Jake a lot of credit for wanting to take this fight.
Yeah, it's not. A lot of people saying it's not smart. If he somehow was able to surprise the world, what does this do for him?
The word would be surprised if he shocked the world. But that's exactly why you got to give him credit. He wants to do it. He trains hard, he works hard, and he has a lot of faith in himself. So we'll see what happens.
Technically, though, what's the biggest concern for you? What's the biggest tip you could give Jake, knowing that you've watched Anthony so many times?
After the fight, Anthony Joshua was candid and reflective about his performance, noting that while he secured a 6th-round knockout, he didn't feel it was his best showing and believed he could have performed much better. Joshua admitted he needed to improve, as he struggled early to land clean shots and couldn't corner Jake Paul as quickly as many had expected. He called it a win, but not a full success, emphasizing that he still has plenty of room for growth and refinement.
What I could have done better is a lot of things. 100%. In the fight game, you've seen the amazing fighters that have graced us over the last 100 years. And the expectations that we put on ourselves are immense, but I tried my best. Jake done well while it lasted, but if you remember what I said in the interview with Cameron is, fighting's not just physical, it's psychological. And when you understand the psychological warfare, I did say to you that, Jake, what's gonna happen? I'm gonna see a time when I'm gonna take your soul and you're either going to give up or you're going to get knocked out. And unless you have that instinct, you just will never be a good fighter.
Despite the knockout, Eddie Hearn acknowledged Jake Paul's effort, though in a measured tone, noting that while Paul showed some toughness, the outcome was never really in doubt. Hearn emphasized that no one realistically expected Paul to last long against a fighter of Anthony Joshua's caliber, and making it into the 6th round was more a testament to his durability than any technical skill. He suggested that Paul's performance highlighted the gap between social media crossover fighters and elite professionals, underscoring that while lasting multiple rounds was notable, it didn't change the fact that Joshua's experience and power ultimately controlled the fight.
You've been out of the ring for a year and a half, and you've got a guy that's just running around the ring, and you can say you've got to cut him off, but when they're moving at that kind of speed and they're holding up close, but his clinching was quite good, Jake. Listen, I'm not saying he's going to go and win a world title, but he just fought Anthony Joshua and went 5 and a bit rounds. So, respect to him, and it was good to get some rounds in, to be honest with you. He's got a new team. If it would have gone 45 seconds, maybe people would have been more impressed, but we wouldn't really have got any ring time. So we've got that, and now it's a case of when we're at next.
You described Jake as average a few years ago. What's your assessment of him now?
Decent. If you listen to what I said in the build-up, I said he used to be average, now I think he's decent. And the same. I think he's like a top 50 cruiserweight in the world. Top 50, top 60 cruiserweight in the world. So, yeah, and look, like I said, I hope he's okay. 4-0 to Matchroom over MVP. But we're friends now, so respect to him.
Any message for Fury?
Fury, listen.
After the fight, Ryan Garcia shared a blunt and provocative reaction on social media that quickly drew attention in the boxing world. Garcia tweeted that while he respected Paul's effort, he also made a sharp comparison to Gervonta Davis, another high-profile boxer. In his tweet, Garcia wrote, "I think Gervonta would have done him worse," suggesting that Davis would have hit Paul harder or ended the fight even more decisively than Joshua did. Many experts echoed Garcia's sentiment, arguing that this was not elite-level boxing. Even after the bout, criticism of the matchup continues, with some observers insisting that the Anthony Joshua vs. Jake Paul fight should never have taken place.
He has a lot of guts, and the fact that he wasn't carried out of this fight on a stretcher, you know, certainly I guess you can say is a positive. But what did I think about this? What did I think about Mike Tyson versus Jake Paul? Look, it felt like Anthony Joshua carried him. It felt like Jake Paul brought in as much of a negative anti-style as possible, circling away, constantly holding Joshua, constantly falling to the ground. Again, while you're certainly going to give respect for the YouTube star turned fighter for having the guts to put on this type of show and to stand in there for as long as he did until a clean right hand in the corner when Paul was absolutely exhausted, dropped him and ended the fight. This is not elite boxing. And we knew that coming in, but if these fights are going to be sanctioned as official fights, like the Mike Tyson fight from last year, like this one, how much longer is the appetite?
Before the fight, Deontay Wilder fueled speculation about the integrity of the matchup, suggesting that contractual arrangements could influence the outcome. According to Wilder, this fight might resemble past spectacle-style matchups, where entertainment and financial considerations sometimes outweigh pure competition. He implied that whoever is favored in the deal could walk away victorious, casting doubt on whether the result would be earned entirely through skill and strategy. This perspective has intensified debates within the boxing community, as fans question whether Paul's meteoric rise is driven more by promotional agreements than by athletic merit alone.
Who does he think will win the fight? And he said, whatever's in the contract for the person to win, that's who will win. And let me counterpunch. What Wilder is saying is what a lot of people are fearing, right? You know, the Jake Paul FDA that, hey, he has to win each and every fight has been one of those things that has been lingering around in the boxing world. As we've seen about Mike Tyson, and Mike Tyson seeing him pulling punches or appeared to be pulling punches and not really trying to fight Jake Paul. And I reminded people that it was an exhibition. And despite how it was billed and what Mike promised to do, I think none of those guys were just trying to hurt each other. You know, I think Jake Paul was actually just trying to, just share the ring with a legend. You know what I mean? To be honest, he made sure he won, sure, but he didn't try to go out of his way to hurt Mike like he did, like he dropped Anderson Silva or he knocked.
Jake Paul's rising confidence in the boxing world has drawn skepticism from many seasoned analysts. Critics argue that Paul's belief in his ability to challenge a fighter like Anthony Joshua is unrealistic. Joshua, a highly decorated and experienced heavyweight, has years of training, numerous championship fights, and proven endurance that Paul has yet to face. Observers note that Paul's physique and performance suggest he may rely on speed or substances, whereas Joshua remains all-natural, demonstrating a combination of size, strength, and skill that is difficult to match. This disparity has led fans and professionals alike to question Paul's readiness for such a monumental challenge. These claims have sparked debate, particularly given the substantial financial incentives tied to the fight. Intricate contracts and enormous payouts often govern high-profile bouts, factors that can influence more than just matchmaking. Wilder's comments have highlighted how behind-the-scenes agreements may affect outcomes in ways fans rarely consider. While the idea of a predetermined result remains disputed, the controversy has prompted analysts and viewers to scrutinize the business motivations driving the matchup. As attention grows, questions about transparency, intent, and competitive integrity continue to surround the fight.
Paul natural? No. I can say that with pretty certain confidence in that statement, mainly because, as you heard me mention, I know a lot of the people he trains with and I have heard things. Now let's give Jake the benefit of the doubt, right? He's able to restrain from the peer pressure that everyone's putting on him to hop on these certain compounds. Then that would be cool to train natural, do what he needs to do. But the thing is, his body composition has changed so much, his explosiveness, his power, and yes, that comes with training and time. But I find it very, very suspicious that for some reason, whenever a drug test gets brought up, for instance, when Fury wanted that in the contract, Jake Paul turns them down. So you should think to yourself, it's probably because he's not natural. Now I want to make it clear, I don't care whether Jake Paul is natural or not. There's so many people that aren't natural that are in combat sports. In fact, Tyron Woodley probably is also not natural. Everyone wants that little edge over their competition, and that's where drugs and anabolics come into play. There's certain compounds that are out there that just increase your explosiveness immensely, your recovery, so that you can stay in the same weight class, which is very important for combat sports, whether that's boxing, UFC, whatever type of combat sport you're doing. So that is why you guys have seen so much improvement from Jake Paul. Of course, he has a great circle around him, great trainers, great coaches, a great regimen, but definitely anabolics play a very fundamental role in that. They allow him to train as hard as he does. They allow him to increase his power and speed. And of course, when you think of those concepts, that's essentially the recipe to...
Joe Rogan has made his stance clear on the realism of Jake Paul's ambitions, and he isn't convinced the matchup favors Paul at all. Rogan argues that even at an older age, Anthony Joshua remains in elite physical condition, maintaining speed, power, and confidence inside the ring. While Paul's boxing style has succeeded against limited or inexperienced opponents, Rogan believes it would be dangerously ineffective against a seasoned heavyweight. He highlights Joshua's championship pedigree, ring IQ, and proven ability to absorb pressure as major advantages. Rogan also questions whether pursuing this fight makes sense for Paul's long-term career, warning that underestimating a fighter of Joshua's caliber could backfire badly. Beyond physical attributes, Rogan emphasizes the psychological challenge, noting that Joshua's championship mindset provides a decisive edge in high-stakes moments. For Paul, facing a truly elite opponent would represent an unforgiving trial by fire.
This is a 34-year-old Anthony Joshua. This is a terrifying human being. Terrifying. Again, a guy who survived Usyk twice. You know, you saw what Usyk did to Dubois? You see Usyk take out Dubois? Did you see that? I mean, that's the Usyk you're talking about. There's an Usyk that rocked Tyson Fury, who's fucking 6'9".
So Jake Paul's 6'1" versus 6'6" Anthony Joshua. Jake weighed in for the Tyson fight at 199.
Yeah.
Joshua against Ngannou was 252.
6'6". Just not just 6'6", but 6'6", and knows how to use every fucking inch of it. Knows how to keep that stick in your face. He was keep that jab in his face, and that right hand, if it hits you, you're fucked. And he's not worried about you the way he's worried about Usyk. You can't move like Usyk. You can't constantly be frustrating and overloading his nervous system. Usyk is overloading every aspect of your senses at every moment. He's constantly moving, and then punches are coming, and he loops punches around your guard, and he's constantly shifting his feet, and you think he's going to be there, and he's over here, and it's like this overload of thinking. It's not a casual, relaxed fight where you can kind of move around and get your groove and he's going to stay on the outside and you're going to... No, it's just constant. He survived that guy twice. He survived, in my opinion, the most skillful heavyweight of all time. Twice. And you're going to go box him? And the toughest guy you fought before was 40 years old Anderson Silva? Those are the toughest guys so far you fought? You lost to Tommy Fury, who's a very good boxer, but this is a giant Olympic gold medalist heavyweight. I mean, Anthony Joshua is fucking
Here's the
terrifying.
thing that nightmares are made of.
And he's got that one punch nuclear power.